Alright, hey guys, this lesson is on palm muting. Palm muting is a very versatile technique. In fact, there's a lot of uses for it that doesn't really have a name. Like when you're soloing and just muting the other strings that you're not playing while you're bending something and things like that. Like, I'll be muting the bottom strings while I'm playing that, just to make sure they don't ring out, which is not really palm muting, but it's still using your palm to mute strings. Palm muting is most famous for, I guess, punk rhythm playing. That's where it's most well known. You know, things like some things like yeah, things like that. So here's how you execute the technique. So in order to pull off a palm mute, all you have to do is, just like the percussive slaps, strike the strings and keep your hand on the bridge and just strike it simultaneously for rhythm playing. The only difference is that instead of just emphasizing on a slapping kind of sound with your fingers not pressing on the strings, you actually press on the strings and create, a note. And simply just mute the sustaining with your palm. Now that's for rhythm, and when you get into faster rhythm playing, you can just kind of leave your palm on the bridge and just use your wrist and your fingers to, strike the strings. So like if you're doing the fast punk thing, like also for lead playing, when you're trying to do, palm mute notes for leading. Do the same thing, just leave your palm lightly touching the bridge. And of course, depending on how hard you press on the bridge, depends on the degree to which the note is muted. So if you press lighter, you get a longer sustaining sound. If you press harder, then it mutes faster. Generally, the harder you press, the chunkier kind of sound you'll get. Also, if you go further up the bridge, you'll also cut off that sustaining sound more until you finally get nothing from all the way to nothing. So yeah, generally you'll be able to find like a sweet spot for you, and use that spot actually for a lot of your lead playing. Or at least for me, I like to throw in a lot of palm mutes to vary up my lead playing. So I'll actually spend a lot of time hanging out with my palm down here touching the bridge, especially muting other strings that I'm not using. And when I hit a bend, I can choke it off like that too, with my palm. Like that. And you don't actually always have to have distortion either. It sounds cleaner, than just a clean sound also. And when you have a clean sound, you can use it to, you know, use chords and stuff like that, just like an acoustic guitar, or dyads. Things like that, or, you know, like and you can even use your palm mutes and percussive slaps for your rhythm playing to, you know, really make it really rhythmical, like so when I'm doing this, those are palm mutes. And then that's a slap. And just the nature of the palm mute is that it'll actually lower the dynamics of your playing, so just keep that in mind. If you hit a really loud section, palm muting probably isn't the best thing you want to do. You probably just want to, you know, let the strings ring out fully, because that's how you get a loud sound. So one other thing that's actually very useful if you're into like a U2 style type playing, like the Edge, is that you can use palm muting in the combination of delay. If you set the tempo on your delay to whatever tempo you're playing at, and then set the delay time for dotted eighth notes, then as you palm mute notes and do eighth notes to the beat, the delay will actually fill in the gaps between each eighth note, and you'll end up getting 16th notes. So I'll try and show you what that's like. Here's the eighth notes. See, all I'm really playing is this. But with the delay, it becomes 16th notes. You kind of lose the distinction, because the sustaining sound of your note actually covers up the delay, which can be nice sometimes if you're trying to sustain it, like. But if you're going for the kind of rhythm, like rhythmical lead playing, palm muting is the way to go. So palm muting also has many other applications other than just the kind of chugga chugga punk rhythm thing. It's used a lot in like acoustic music. Everything you can do on an electric guitar, you can pretty much do on acoustic minus like effects and distortion, that kind of thing. But for instance, like using palm muting like this. That would be more of like an acoustic type of rhythm playing from, like a pop song. Like that's from my album. It's called Emptiness. Also like No Such Thing from John Mayer. Things like that. Palm muting is particularly useful for playing contrasting lead lines, because a lot of times when you think about electric guitar lead, you think about these long sustaining sounds like but you can play lines that contrast to that kind of thing simply by throwing in some palm muting here and there, especially on the lower strings, because the lower strings are thicker, so they tend to resonate, for longer and wider. So when you throw in your palm there on the bridge there to dampen the sound a bit, it actually sounds pretty good. Sounds a little cleaner. Yeah. So I'm just going to do a little improv for you and try to throw in as many applications of palm muting as I can, and yeah, I'll just create a loop real quick. Yeah, so you get the idea. So that was just going through some, contrasting styles of playing more legato with more hammers on pull-offs, and then switching to a more rhythmical kind of, staccato sound with palm muting, making it a little thicker. It's also great for dynamic contrast, play really long sustained sounds for the loud parts and switch to more, softer palm muted sounds for soft parts. And that way you can, create great variety in your solos. Although that wasn't that great, but, I hope it just gives you a good idea. Yeah, that's pretty much it for palm muting. If you have any questions, just leave a comment and I'll try to get back to you.